With a face for radio and a voice for newspapers, it's the Walt Bonetti Podcast.
Welcome to episode 30 of the Walt Bonetti Podcast for February 15th. The Walt Bonetti Podcast is brought to you by the Original Italian Pie of Kenner, 3600 Williams Boulevard, just a little bit north of West Esplanade. You can dine in or call them 469-4999 and they'll have your order ready for pickup, or they will deliver it to your home or your office. On today's podcast, a dumpster fire, a vanishing act, and a firing for the New Orleans Pelicans. New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell has a new plan to grab other people's money. Louisiana Insurance Commissioner Jim Donelon blames attorneys for Louisiana's outrageous auto insurance rates. But we know the truth, don't we? And two disturbing crime stories from Kenner. But first, these quick hits. After last night's embarrassing vanishing act by the Pelicans' Anthony Davis, who disappeared mid-game with an alleged injury and left the Smoothie King Center with his agent, the Pelicans fired general manager Dell Demps. Demps overstayed his welcome here. New Orleans is a small NBA market. We need to draft well, develop players, trade them, and continue the draft-develop cycle. Maybe we will never be able to compete with large markets for the splashy name free agents or compete for titles yearly, but we can be competitive. The Pelicans are still our team, and we need to support them, whoever they put out there. The lineup for the 10th anniversary Bayou Country Superfest, returning to Baton Rouge this year after a brief stop in New Orleans, was announced. Headliners for the May 25th and 26th Superfest are Kenny Chesney, Jason Aldean, and Florida Georgia Line. An 18-year-old was named as a suspect in the brutal beating of a Colorado tourist. Mark Gregory Hunter Jr. is charged with second-degree battery. He was still at large when this podcast was posted. He is the first suspect identified in the brutal beating. The police chief of Freeport, Texas, has a new deputy, a 6-year-old girl. Abigail Arias was sworn in as an honorary police officer in the Freeport PD. Abigail has dreamed of being a police officer. Now, this kind of stuff happens every day in towns all across America, right? Kenner even has mayor for a day. Although, they've never asked me. I want to be mayor for a day, or 2 or 3. Abigail made a promise in her oath. I now and forever promise to keep fighting the bad guys until all my cancer is gone. Abigail has an incurable cancer and a tumor wrapped around her aorta. Doctors don't know if any treatment or chemotherapy will help the 6-year-old. A 23-year-old Westlake, Louisiana man is in jail after police say he whipped his girlfriend's 12-year-old daughter with a belt. Taylor Ashworth was charged with cruelty to a juvenile. The girl was taken to the hospital with bruises and red marks across her arms and legs. First of all, what's a 23-year-old guy who isn't even the child's parent? What is he doing disciplining a 12-year-old girl and smacking her with a belt? What is that about? Where was the mother? And now this. If you're in the mood for some great food and you don't want to cook and you don't want the mess and the cleanup and you don't want the hassle, just leave it to the Original Italian Pie of Kenner. They're located at 3600 Williams Boulevard, just a little bit north of West Esplanade. You can dine in. They have incredible service. Or you can call them 469-4999. That's 469-4999. And they'll have your order ready for pickup, or they will deliver it to your home or your office. Whether you're in the mood for a calzone, a sandwich, a wrap, a salad, maybe a grilled chicken Caesar salad. How does that sound? Or incredible pasta, or pizza. You can find it all at the Original Italian Pie of Kenner. 3600 Williams Boulevard. Their telephone number is 469-4999. You can dine in or call them, and they have your order ready for pickup, or they will deliver. So whenever you are hungry, make sure you think about the Original Italian Pie of Kenner.
My life is just one horror after another.
Walt Bonetti.
Welcome back. Thanks again for spending part of your day with the podcast. New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell is back with a new plan to rescue the Sewage and Water Board, again using money that doesn't belong to her. After being rebuffed in her attempt to divert hundreds of millions of dollars from tourism to the inept Sewage and Water Board, Cantrell now wants $75 million from the state and at least $40 million every year from tourism. Cantrell says the balance of the funding needed for the Sewage and Water Board would come from belt-tightening at City Hall and other means. My question is, why isn't she doing that now? Why add city departments, meditation rooms, cameras, and more without first operating as lean as possible and using that money to fix the Sewage and Water Board? Are meditation rooms more of a priority than drinking water and drainage for Mayor Cantrell? Why not cut the obscene pension of Mitch Landrieu's cronies like Cedric Grant, who was approved by Cantrell when she was on the New Orleans City Council, and who helped run the Sewage and Water Board into the ground with his ineptitude? Why is the city paying over $100,000 a year in pensions to a bunch of people just because they were friends of Mitch Landrieu? Look, we all know there are big problems at the New Orleans Sewage and Water Board. But Mayor Cantrell was on the city council for 8 years. She knows the problems at the Sewage and Water Board too. But instead of cleaning up her own house, she continues to want to rely on others and their money to do it for her. There was a water main break on Poydras Street. The pipe was over 100 years old. Why wasn't that replaced decades ago? Where's the plan to replace pipes regularly? New Orleans has about 340,000 people living in it. 18 million tourists visit here annually. Diverting money from the economic engine of the region and the state is a terrible idea. The Superdome is old. It needs to be revamped periodically. We rely on events like the Super Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, Essence Fest, and others to keep people employed. Diverting money from tourism is a short-term solution to the Sewage and Water Board's long-term problems and will create tourism problems. Where will that money come from to fix that? I guess the news that Louisiana has the second highest auto insurance rates in the country, which I've been discussing for years, just reached Monroe. A report on KNOE TV Thursday discussed the issue with Insurance Commissioner Jim Donelon, who thought he was going on camera to tout the whopping 3% decrease State Farm approved, after increasing rates by over 21% in recent years. As is typical of Donelon, rather than discuss his ineptness, he focused the blame squarely on personal injury attorneys. Quote, "That goes back to problems that we have had with claims to litigation ratio. The advertisement is a problem," Donelon said. Look, I can accept personal injury attorneys being part of the problem, but there are personal injury attorneys in every state. And we're still the second highest, over $900 a year above the national average. Above the national average. That's ridiculous. This is similar to the tactic that Donelon used to defend insurance companies charging massive property insurance rates years after Katrina. Until the Property Insurance Clarity Act made insurance companies transparent, we had no concrete proof that property insurers, with the help of Donelon looking the other way, were ripping consumers off annually. Donelon fought the Louisiana Property Insurance Clarity Act tooth and nail, and when it was approved, he couldn't wait for it to sunset. Look, when the best thing you can say about a career politician like Jim Donelon is that he's not in jail yet, it's time for us to show Jim Donelon the door.
Now, the Walt Bonetti Podcast Dumbass of the Day.
An American trophy hunter paid $110,000 permit fee to kill a rare mountain goat in Pakistan. Brian Kinsel Harlan shot the goat and then high-fived his guides and picked the goat up by his horns to snap a photo. The goat, a markhor, is the national animal of Pakistan and until 2015 was classified as an endangered species. It is now considered near threatened, with an estimated 5,700 left alive globally. For paying $110,000 and then getting a helicopter and guides to track down this animal that is minding its own business out there, minding its own business, not bothering you. And you weren't going to eat the goat meat. You just wanted the show. You just wanted the kill. Brian Harlan is our dumbass of the day. We have two disturbing crime stories from Kenner. A 19-year-old Kenner man, Jonathan Preston, was arrested after he allegedly raped a 5-year-old girl. Preston was charged with first-degree rape and simple battery. After his arrest, it was discovered that he was wanted on 4 counts of being a fugitive from another jurisdiction. Preston was a friend of the 5-year-old's family. A Mississippi man was arrested and accused of raping a young boy in Kenner. 38-year-old Michael Ladner was charged with raping the boy multiple times when the boy was between the ages of 3 and 5. Like the previous story, Ladner was a family friend. He is charged with 2 counts of first-degree rape of a victim under the age of 13 and aggravated assault. Now, I don't know how you feel, but in my mind, there is a special place in hell for people that rape children. That's disgusting. 5 years old. 3 years old. Well, that puts a wrap on today's podcast. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, please email waltbradio@gmail.com. That's waltbradio@gmail.com. Don't forget to support our sponsor, the Original Italian Pie of Kenner, 3600 Williams Boulevard, just a little bit north of West Esplanade. You can dine in or call them 469-4999, and they will have your order ready for pickup or they will deliver. That's the Original Italian Pie of Kenner, 3600 Williams Boulevard, 469-4999. As we tell you every day, please go out and be a blessing. Change someone's life today or this weekend. Or change your own life. Or change multiple people's lives. Just do good this weekend. You can do it. Just do good. Thanks for listening.
Walt Bonetti,